On October 3rd, 2019, Kathleen Barber tweeted, "Every email I ever send. Hello! I am extremely excited to be corresponding with you. You can tell by the number of exclamation points I use. Here is one sentence with a period so that I don't come off as manic. Thanks! This is the Museum of Twitter, the show where we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. I like to do a variety of types of tweets on this show, so occasionally I have to do the classic, old, tried and true, great observation tweets. Because this is a thing that I think we all can relate to. At least those of us who work office jobs can relate to. Because yeah, until I read this tweet, I don't know if I ever thought about how much subconscious time I'm spending thinking about when I should and shouldn't use an exclamation point. And I'm sure that there are people who are very self-possessed who do not go through this whole rigmarole in their brain. But I am not such a person. And based on the amount of retweets and likes that this tweet has, I know that I'm not alone. Or people like Lulu Miller who said, "Saw this a couple days ago and can't stop thinking about how accurate it is." Jerry Dunleavy IV who hit it with the "I'm in this photo and don't like it" meme. Sheila says, "I carefully alternate periods and exclamation points so I hit the right balance between blunt and overexcited." And Stephanie Magister puts a fine point on what I'm worried about when I go through this. She says, "She used a period in one of her sentences? Does that mean she secretly hates me?" Because yeah, that kind of is what's at the root of this, and it's kind of embarrassing to admit it, but yeah, I'm just always afraid that people are going to think that I'm mad at them. Why is that the case? Because I am always concerned that people are mad at me. Is this a good way to move through life? Of course it isn't. But a lot of my job, I work in an office, a lot of my job is answering people's questions with simple yes or no answers. And I could just answer the question with an email that says, "Yes, thanks, Jake." But I don't do that because I'm afraid that will make them think that I'm mad at them. So I'm like, "Yes, that is the case, exclamation point. Let me know if you have any other questions, Jake." And that's not the biggest deal in the world. Like, it's not that hard to do that, but like, it is funny that I feel like I had to do that. And some people did have advice to avoid this. Adam Egypt Mortimer said, "I basically use Coco Chanel's advice and delete one exclamation point just before sending. Thanks." And Hend Omri said, "I always have to go back and delete all but a single exclamation point in my emails. Just one, Hend. Pick which one you want to keep, the rest have to go." And Litterbox Comics addresses a parallel thing. The use of emojis in work correspondence. Obviously, like a decade ago, that would have been unthinkable, but like now it's not. Not so much in emails, but in like Teams messages. And that is something I use with some frequency, to be honest. Like I said, not in an email, but like if I am saying something to someone in a Teams message or in a Slack message, not that I work somewhere with Slack, but if I'm sending someone a message like that, I'll throw a smiley face at the end of it, just to be absolutely clear, I'm not mad at them. Now, a thing I had not considered until I saw this posted on r/white people Twitter with the caption, "Emails man," is how gendered this is. And that's on me. I obviously should have assumed that this was gendered. And the top comment in the thread was this from Sayo Soybean, which I think was quite illuminating. "When I had a job with a ton of email correspondence, people always assumed I was male, which I assume was just because I have an unusual name that doesn't seem particularly gendered if you are unfamiliar with it. But then in talking with a female coworker, she had also thought I was male before we met face to face, and then she thought I was irritated because my emails were cold. Much to my surprise, I would still say that I was looking forward to speaking, etc., so I thought I was being woman friendly. Turns out, without all the cutesy exclamation points, it seemed male, and then when she found out I was female, assumed it meant I was mad, because females are expected to write this way apparently." And similarly, Drew Hawkins quoted the tweet and said, "The fact that I didn't write like this in emails came up in a performance review once, I kid you not." And so that in some ways makes me feel bad about perpetuating this sort of thing. Maybe we should all agree just to not use exclamation points in emails unless they're necessary. I say maybe, because I'm not going to do that. I hope to someday get to a place where I move through the world without constantly being worried that people are mad at me, or that I am making people think that I am mad at them, but we're not there yet. I don't know if we'll ever get there. Follow me for a new tweet every day, and if you like the show, I'd really love for you to check out my Patreon, patreon.com/museum of Twitter. We get a weekly bonus episode called the Museum of Not Twitter, and you get to vote on what I cover on Subscriber Sundays.